Today we use the trigger rule, also called the law of detachment. Yes, class, the trigger rule is simply a pattern we follow. If P, then Q. P is true, therefore Q is true. We will just follow the steps. So, if we know P is true, what can we say about Q?
Then Q must also be true?
Observe the law of detachment. If P is true, then Q must follow. I pull the trigger, and the trap must spring.
Ah! It got my finger!
Are you okay? A practical lesson. Let us try this together. First, we rewrite statement 1 in if-then form. This allows us to use the law of detachment for our deduction. Very good. Class, we first find the group being described. This is the condition. Second, we identify what is said about that group. This is the result. Third, we insert if-then to connect condition and result. This makes a conditional statement. Fourth, identify the hypothesis, the if part, and the conclusion, the then part. Jaden, would you like to try the first step?
If a polygon has 3 sides, then it is a triangle. If a polygon has 3 sides, then it is a triangle.
So, the hypothesis is any polygon with 3 sides, and the conclusion is it is a triangle. This is the formal definition. We call it an if-then statement.
So, if it has 3 sides, it's always a triangle?
Exactly. Let's look at this triangle I drew.
It has 3 sides.
Good, now you understand. Now, in order to prove our logical statement, we apply a given rule. Therefore, we are using deductive reasoning. Today we use the trigger rule, also called the law of detachment. So the whole if-then statement is our general rule. If P then Q, and must be a valid, true statement. Our trigger rule is like a mousetrap with cheese and set to go off. When the conditions are just right, the trap is set and ready to spring.
Oh, I get it now. Me too.
Now we ask, is our hypothesis true? In this case, is ABC a polygon with 3 sides? Is P true?
Yes, ABC is a polygon with 3 sides. The trigger is pulled.
P is true. The hypothesis is true.
Correct. Our rule is true and our hypothesis true. The mousetrap was set and the trigger is pressed. P implies Q is true and P is true.
Teacher, so the snap means that Q is true. ABC is a triangle.
Yes, Becky, the implication holds.
So Q is true.
Precisely. Well done.
We start with the conditional, P implies Q, and the premise P, both marked true. The chain links them together to reveal the conclusion, Q is true.
If P implies Q and P is true, then Q must be true. So if it rains, the ground is wet.
Exactly. And we know it's raining.
Then the ground must be wet. Precisely. That's deduction. The final step is to write our proof. This is the documentation of each step required to reach the conclusion, like a detective writing his case file. So we document P implies Q is true, therefore Q is true.